We got another problem to add to the list of growing problems for this Red Sox team. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Look, the Red Sox, they've been terrible lately. There's no two ways around it. They just dropped another series to the Atlanta Braves, which is officially putting them pretty comfortably under 500 at this point at 23-25 on the year. Somehow they're still in second place in this division, which just goes to show you how bad the AL East is looking this season. It's 5 games out of first place, though. You are now the largest deficit from first place that you've been this entire season, and you can start to slowly see that race slip away, and it's only May, ladies and gentlemen, right? That is a big issue for the Red Sox, and there was one thing in this series that continued to pop up that has started to become a major problem for the Boston Red Sox that needs to be added to their list of major problems. So we're going to break it down in today's video, and the problem I'm talking about is the problem with the Red Sox rotation. Their rotation this month have not been very good. And what's interesting is that while we have been bashing the bullpen, they've been quietly getting better. From April to May, so far for the Red Sox rotation, it has gone from a 4.02 ERA in April to a 5.34 ERA in May, while the bullpen has gone from a 4.05 ERA to a 3.12. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say that while we start bashing this Red Sox rotation a little bit, Garrett Crochet is not included in this bashing, right? I just want to make that perfectly clear, because while the rest of the rotation we have some problems with here, Garrett Crochet, there's nothing to complain about. This dude has been as good as advertised for the Boston Red Sox. He continued to be that good in this series. He went 7 innings, 2 earned on 8 strikeouts, no walks too, which I think is hugely important in all of this. I don't think he's had a start this season where he hasn't given up a walk, so that was really cool to see. His season stats are down to just a 2 ERA, a 2.80 FIP, a 1.063 WHIP. He leads all of AL in starts, innings pitched, and strikeouts. He's been fantastic this season, right? I'm not going to sit here and lump Garrett Crochet in with the rest of the Red Sox rotational problems. However, if we're talking about the rotation as a whole and just simply numbers on paper, things aren't looking good for the Red Sox rotation this year. In fact, if we talk about it as a whole, in terms of the season in general, they are 24th in ERA in the league with an ERA at 4.45. That is obviously bottom 6, bottom 7 in Major League Baseball. They are allowing a ton of traffic on the base pass with a WHIP of 1.41, which is, again, tied with the Chicago White Sox for the 5th worst in Major League Baseball. That's the kind of caliber of team you're kind of in company with your rotation right now. Guys are just simply not getting fooled by anything the Red Sox are throwing at them right now. Their overall approach just simply isn't working. They have the 3rd worst average against them in baseball at 271. They are top 10 in home runs allowed. They're top 10 in hit batsmen. They're 2nd in Major League Baseball in hits allowed. I mean, literally every single way you slice this Red Sox rotation at the moment, it's a bottom 10 rotation in baseball, maybe even a bottom 5 rotation in Major League Baseball, right? Your company right now is the Baltimore Orioles, who are, 15 games under 500 at this point, the Chicago White Sox, who are one of the worst teams in the sport, and the Miami Marlins and the Colorado Rockies. You're talking about the worst teams in baseball at this point in the season. Your production on the mound from your starters is right in line with what those teams are doing. That is simply not sufficient enough to be a competitive team in this league. And right now, this rotation is flat out costing the Boston Red Sox games. I mean, it cost them this series, didn't it? Brian Bayo comes in here. He starts the game off not looking too hot, right? Gives up 3 runs. Rafael Devers hits the first grand slam the Red Sox have hit in basically 2 years. Vibes from last night were hopefully carrying over into yesterday, right? You were talking about, okay, was this a turning point for the Red Sox? You get the grand slam and you say, oh, crap. maybe this really was a turning point for this offense. Maybe they are starting to put it together. Maybe this is a run the Red Sox needed that they could finally go on, just for Brayan Bello to go back out there and end up dropping a 4 1/3 inning, 7 ERA performance. And now not only is the lead immediately wiped away, but now you need to score 8 runs just to win a baseball game. And then you sit there and you say, well, why'd the offense give up after just scoring 4? And that's a legitimate question after Rafael Devers hit that grand slam. But at the same time, too, if you're a team expecting to win baseball games and you have to rely on this offense to score 8, 9 runs a game just simply to put you in the win column, that's not a recipe for a good team, right? That's not a successful baseball team. It makes the offense look worse. But even if you want to go back to the Detroit series was also an example of the problems with this Red Sox rotation right now. You had Houck in the first game that gave you an all-time bad start. You had Bello, who was only able to go 4 2/3 innings here. In fact, in his last 3 starts, Bello hasn't been able to give you more than 5 innings worth of work. Dobbins, who, in all fairness, has been pretty good up until this point, went 5 innings, gave you 5 runs. A bad rotation simply makes the rest of the team look worse, right? You talk about, hey, there's a lot of problems with this lineup. Hey, there's a lot of problems with this bullpen. Those get highlighted and exposed the worse your rotation is, right? Again, you go back to every 5 days, you have to score less than 5 runs to win a baseball game with Crochet on the mound. So 4 out of 5 days, your offense is expected to put up 5, 6 runs. That's going to expose them a little bit, right? You can't expect an offense to score that many runs every single day just simply to put you in the win column. The bullpen, they've been having problems closing out games here, right? And that's not totally related to the rotation, but you're pretty consistently here outside of Garrett Crochet unable to go more than 6, 7 innings with a starter. Maybe you get to 6 innings here. Most of the time over the past week, it's been about 5 innings, sometimes less with these starters. Your bullpen starts to get exposed in series, and it leads to big moments from the opposition because they've seen Garrett Whitlock or Brennan Bernardino or Justin Wilson or Greg Weiser 2 or 3 times now by the end of this series, right? You're exposing the nerves of other parts of this team because of the fact that you simply can't figure it out with your rotation. So the question becomes, how do you fix all this? Honestly, I think there may end up being a couple of different answers to this question. I don't know which one's the right one. The easiest one would be simply just get healthy. The Red Sox rotation, we've said it 100 times this year, they have yet to get through a full turn in a rotation with their original rotation. Every single time, there is at least one person injured here. And right now, you've got a really big name on your IL. He's coming back tomorrow, but he's been on your IL for a little bit now, and that's Walker Buehler. This is a guy who could absolutely help with your consistency. I get it. The overall metrics this season haven't looked good with Buehler, but his first 2 games were really terrible, and then since then, his next 4 games, they've been a sub-3 ERA caliber pitcher. That's a guy who could even out this rotation a little bit. Richard Fitz, that was a guy at the beginning of the year who, despite the fact was a sub-in because you had an injury, ended up being one of your more consistent pitchers as well. He's supposed to start a rehab assignment by the end of this week, so you're getting some rotational help back here, and maybe that's an answer to the Red Sox problem. But my concern is I think it's a little bit deeper than, hey, the Red Sox just haven't been healthy, because it's not some random sub fill-in rotational piece that the Red Sox are relying on that's giving up baseball games right now. In fact, right, you talk about that guy, that's been Hunter Dobbins, and he's been pretty much your second best pitcher over the course of his time in this Red Sox rotation. No, in fact, it's the guys that you were supposed to be relying on to be the heads of this rotation. Bello, Giolito, Houck. Those are the 3 problems for the Red Sox right now, and that's a much more difficult question to answer. Houck is on the IL, so he's kind of taken out of the equation, but Bello and Giolito, all 3 of those guys, I mean, that was supposed to be what? Your 2, 3, and 4. Right? And right now, they're all pitching like they're not even a 5. Like they're a 6 or a 7, that emergency depth starter in minor league baseball right now. Gio is every other start's an absolute stinker at this point. Bello, it's like a tightrope walk every time he gets onto the mound. And eventually, that tightrope is going to fall over, and that's what you saw against the Atlanta Braves. My question becomes, is it a pitching philosophy thing, right? These guys are talented. The rotation is talented. This certainly isn't a bottom 5 rotation in baseball. It was a little questionable coming into the season. I think everyone had at least a little bit of question as to what the rotation was going to end up looking like. This isn't a bottom 5 team. I mean, at the bare minimum, this is a league average rotation, isn't it? So what's going on here? Is it a game planning situation? And I'm not one that usually comes in here and blames coaches. I think that's kind of a little bit of a lazy take, right? You know, Fatsy isn't an overlord over the offense. Bailey isn't an overlord over the pitching. And eventually, we got to look at just simply the Red Sox players themselves either need to be more talented or they just simply need to be better. But I do question this a little bit. I question, okay, is it a game planning issue? Is it a pitch sequencing issue? Is it a focus by the organization who's we've been praising for, a year now, basically, right? Kind of shifting their focus to trying to be better as a pitching staff, but you're not seeing any of those improvements. You're specifically not seeing any of those improvements in the starting rotation, right? In fact, I would venture to say that some of these guys, I mean, Houck and Bayo, they're regressing since the Bailey Breslow run prevention unit was established in Red Sox system, right? These guys aren't doing any better. Giolito came back and has not looked very good, right? You're sitting there and you're saying, well, what's going on here, right? Is there something here that the Red Sox need to change and figure out with this rotation? I'm not calling for Andrew Bailey's job. I don't like doing that. I'm not sitting here saying that you fire Andrew Bailey and all of a sudden you're an elite level rotation right now. I don't think that's true, right? You just had Dave Bush in there. He wasn't much better, so I don't know, right? I don't know what the answer is when guys are doing this poorly. I don't know if you go out and get somebody, but right now that's going to cost you almost everything just simply to get a legitimate major league pitcher in here. Is it as simple as getting healthy, right? Is that just simply the answer? Once Buehler comes back, you get another option in there, and all of a sudden it's Crochet, Dobbins, and Buehler are sort of your reliable options for this rotation, and then you can kind of take your time and figure out what's going on with Bayo and Giolito. I don't know that it's as simple as that, though. Right? Maybe it's 6-man rotations. Maybe that's the answer to this problem. Maybe you bring Richard Fitz back when he gets healthy and put him into the rotation. You go 6-man. That way everyone gets 5 days in between starts. Maybe everyone needs that time to figure themselves out. I don't know, but the problem here is that you're just adding another problem to this gigantic pile of problems building up for the Red Sox, right? Again, we've talked about it in this video. The bullpen's been a problem. Lineup's been a problem. The defense was a problem at the beginning of the year. I think it's gotten a little bit better as of late. I know there were some issues in the Detroit series, but I think overall the defense is looking better for the Boston Red Sox. But eventually you look at this pile of problems and you say, hey, are we going to fix any of this? Right? Is any of this going to figure itself out? Are you going to be proactive about any of this? Because eventually you look at these gigantic piles of things and they're going to start to weigh you down. They're going to start to sink you a little bit. And right now the Red Sox, they're taking on water. Right? We talk about this all the time. Memorial Day is sort of the benchmark here for, hey, what is the team going to look like overall this year? And do we need to start making some legitimate changes? That's a week away. And the Red Sox are 2 games under 500 and 5 games out of being competitive for a division in which you came into the season saying, hey, that's our goal. We're not competing for a wild card spot. If we have to, we'll get in that way, but we're competing for this division. Well, you've let the division slip away pretty quickly, right? You went from, a game back a week ago, a game and a half back a week ago, to 5 games over the span of 2 series. That simply isn't going to get the job done, right? And there's a way to bounce back. If you do well in these next 2 series, all of a sudden you could be a game or 2 games back of the division, but it doesn't feel like the Red Sox are capable of that right now. You talk about it, again, that pile is starting to weigh you down. I don't know how you win 6, 5, 4, even 3 games in a row right now with the rotation the way it is, right? Especially if you're going to get 6, 7 runs given up over the course of 5 innings. How likely are you to have a win streak when pretty much 2 or 3 out of these 5 guys are scheduled to give you a stinker start every other time they're out there on the mound? That just simply is not a recipe for success. I don't know, guys. I really don't. I don't have any solutions, right? You just sit here and it feels like these problems just continue to pile up for the Boston Red Sox. And at some point, you need to see something get figured out. If your name isn't Rafael Devers right now, you're still not hitting in the clutch as well as you should be. If your name isn't Aroldis Chapman right now, you're still not pitching the way you should be later in games. And if your name isn't Garrett Crochet right now, you're not starting and you're not doing your job as a starter in games right now. And literally that's the entirety of the Boston Red Sox. So I have no idea what the Red Sox do here, but they need to do something fast. They're quickly approaching panic time here. If you're not already panicked at this point, something's got to give. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just sad. I'm annoyed. I'm depressed. This team should not be doing this. This team should not be as disappointing as they are right now, and yet they continue to disappoint. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think? What do you think about this? Is this quietly the Red Sox biggest problem? Do you still think the offense or the bullpen's a bigger problem? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.